We are so pleased to welcome back to set Mike Guimares, who is the owner-broker of REMAX Spectrum here in Plymouth and surrounding towns. Welcome to our set and for your section that we call Home Matters.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being back. We haven't had you since the late fall.
Yeah.
Last time you were here, actually, it was snowing, I think.
That's right.
And a lot has changed, and spring has sprung.
It is. It's here. Finally.
And finally. So right now, what is our state of the market here at the end of March?
I like to equate it to driving a car. We're back in drive.
We're back in drive.
The car is moving again. We had experienced at the end of the year things started to slow down, which is somewhat typical with holidays.
Yep.
But we had a lot of instability, so things were a little bit scary, a little shaky, but we've really rebounded well.
The rates had gone up.
They had.
Towards the end of the year, and that was very off-putting to a lot of people.
Yeah, it was. It affects affordability in such a drastic way.
Yep.
So when interest rates go up even 1%, it's a 10% affordability hit for a buyer. So
right.
that did not help things
exactly.
into the fall.
Exactly. So now, what do we have as far as inventory goes?
So inventory is as expected. Spring is here, and people use April 1st as kind of their target.
Yep.
Thinking about spring. We've started to see inventory creep on the market, and it's selling quickly. It's things that are priced properly. But what's really helping is that the interest rates dipped back.
Right.
So
even 1 point makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And right now we're at our lowest point in over a year. So
for interest rates.
Yeah, if we think back to 2018 spring market and how strong that was,
yes.
our rates are at that point or a little bit below that.
Which is great.
It is. And with our pricing, which had stabilized at the end of 2018,
yep.
it's kind of creating a perfect storm where buyers have good pricing and good rates, so the affordability is up and they're ready to jump back in again.
Right. Now, I know we had a real problem with inventory.
We did.
Last year. What are the factors that have changed that so much?
I think what's happened is folks have always been waited for the spring. So in the fall, we were hearing lots of murmurs about people getting ready, and they were putting it off until springtime.
Right.
We've seen that jump happen now, and what we're seeing now for coming soon listings is the next 3 weeks. It looks to be a point where we're going to just tip over the edge, and homes are going to hit the market at a much faster pace. So our firm has seen a 50% increase in properties under contract, which means the homes are hitting, but they're still not staying on the market a long time.
I was just going to ask you that. What is the average length of time?
Yeah, so typically in a real stable, balanced market, you like to see anywhere between 3 and 4 months. Right now, homes that are priced properly are gone in 30 days.
Wow. That's great. Soup to nuts.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
that's excellent.
Good signs, stable market, good pricing, good rates, affordability is there, so things are moving.
Now, who are the major buyers right now? Are they first-time home buyers? Are they people that are downsizing? What are they?
Yeah, it's a great question. Those are the two main mixes of buyers we're seeing. First-time home buyers are definitely jumping in the market.
Yep.
Years and years of moving back with family, saving money has paid off. Now they can afford much larger homes, better value, and we are starting to finally see a tip in folks that are downsizing. It has been a baby boomer thing where we think they're going to finally start to move. It's happening now.
Where are they going? Where are people going that
That's
are
the struggle. The last few years we had very little new construction, even though it seemed like homes were popping up.
Yeah.
The years past we had much higher rates of new construction, so that's dipped back.
Yep.
And so the problem we have now is not enough 55 plus has been started in the last 6 years. It kind of stopped when the market shifted. And so they're struggling to find those properties. So what we're seeing is kind of a flip. First-time home buyers from 5 or 6 years ago that may have bought the smaller homes and that price point are moving up, and the folks that are downsizing are trying to purchase their homes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so it's that good shift that you like to see.
Switcheroo. So what are important points for buyers?
The most important thing I can say is have their pre-approval ready and understand the entire finational picture.
Yeah, and you've always said that, right?
Yeah,
you
knowing your budget.
Go in knowing exactly what you can afford.
Absolutely.
And that you can make an offer.
Exactly. Knowing, a lot of folks look at price point, they've got their pre-approval, they know what they can buy, but they don't look a little deeper at what it's going to cost to keep that house maintained and moving with the utilities and things like that. And then I would say also keeping that pre-approval fresh. The number of mortgage programs that are coming out on a monthly basis continues to grow.
Yeah.
So there are programs that are reducing deposit amounts.
Yes.
Maybe helping with lower interest rates if they want to buy that down. So having a good conversation with their lender and understanding the packages that are available to them is going to be a huge factor in their offers and making their offer attractive to a seller.
Okay. Is there any difference between getting a pre-approval from a bank or like an app on the phone, like I know, like Rocket? I've just seen ads for that.
Yep.
So you can get pre-approved in a day.
Yep.
Will you, as a realtor, say one is better than the other?
Yeah, no, I think all the processes work. Rocket Mortgage and some of those other ones, not to give them a plug, but
no,
they go through the process of getting your financial information as you should. A true pre-approval requires a full look at your tax returns, your income, your credit.
Right.
And so it doesn't take more than a day to do that. The question is whether or not you want to deal with someone local that you can have a conversation with quickly, or an online or 800 number that you're talking to someone in another state. And that's completely up to you. It's different for everybody. But I think
they're both legitimate.
They're both legit, yeah, definitely.
Okay. What are the buyers looking for these days?
But yeah, buyers,
what do they want when they walk in?
They're more armed with information today than they've ever been. The internet obviously is very powerful, and folks can look at a property and determine what that property has done over the past 15 years for additions and remodels. They can see that history. So they're looking for value. They're looking for a property that has good location for their commute, for their family lifestyle, their needs. They're willing to balance and drive maybe a little bit more if they think they can have more privacy, more space, a nicer yard. So they're looking for that value. And then also condition has become even more important today, because a lot of the younger buyers that are coming in don't really want to deal with doing work on the home.
Right.
They have a different lifestyle where they're enjoying the weekends and they're going out and whatnot. So they're looking for homes that have been maintained well and are in good condition, and there's nothing that's urgent that needs to be done.
Right.
More things that can be done over time based on their taste. So that's what they're looking for, those turnkey properties.
And that's why you've always said that when you stage your house, how important it is to make it almost vanilla.
Absolutely.
So that when people walk in, they can imagine how they would decorate, or they would paint, or what they would do.
Absolutely.
To each room.
And that challenge for sellers is even greater today. Everyone thinks about staging their home, and sometimes it's just a matter of decluttering.
Right.
You know, and so we all collect things over time.
Yep.
It just is what life is like. So sometimes it's just removing all that information, all that personal stuff.
Yep.
Moving some furniture out. Don't have too much furniture in a room. Makes it look bigger if you weed it out.
Yep.
And I think those steps for sellers are important to prepare.
I always notice too in kitchens, people that load their counters with stuff, it makes the kitchen look so much smaller.
Absolutely.
And it just, I always say, make it a blank canvas so that people can imagine, oh, this is how I decorate it.
It's funny, when we go into a home to do professional photography for a seller, they'll leave and the photographer will come in and we'll have counters that have toaster oven, blender.
They got everything.
So when they see the photos online, they're like, well, that's not really our home. Where'd all our stuff go? It's like we have to remove that for the photos because people want to envision that space is open.
Right. What should sellers expect for a sales timeline? Sellers, this is.
Sellers, yeah. So things have shifted a little bit. If priced properly, you'll know in the first 2 weeks if your home is highly marketable and desirable. It's really not, there's not magic to it. Buyers are on the sidelines, they're ready to jump in. If they see a home and it's priced right, the bidding wars are still there.
So that's still going on?
It is, absolutely. And I think price strategy for sellers is not always trying to list at the top of that range that you may have been told. It's maybe being a little more strategic and having a price that's going to attract more viewers, more buyers.
And then they're going to punch it out.
And they're going to move it up. They will, because once you're competing with homes in your market that are within $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, if you're starting at the lower point, they're willing to go up.
Oh, sure.
If they love the home.
Sure.
So the timeline is, you'll know in the first 2 to 3 weeks how you stand, and generally within 45 days you'll be under agreement if you're priced properly.
So there's a lot of psychology to this too.
There's probably more psychology than people realize, because a lot of times you look at, my neighbor sold their home and this is the price, but it's really at the time you put your home on the market, what are you competing against?
Right.
And what are the features of that home and how can you prep your home to
And
compete?
no two homes are alike.
They aren't.
Right. Everything, and everybody's got a different history, everybody's got a different location, and even the way you sit on a lot. Some people don't want a driveway that goes up, don't want a driveway that goes down.
Absolutely. We start to worry about, like in that example, winters, and steep driveways have ice issues. So there's, definitely things to consider, features of your home that may not have been an issue for you, but someone else looking at it is going to have concerns.
That's right.
And I would say the other thing they can really do to help their timeline is the simple things. Splash of paint. Making sure all the light bulbs work, changing some fixtures. Simple, inexpensive upgrades that will help you shine a little bit better.
And the mold, get the mold
out.
A little green mold off the side of your house.
Absolutely, good pressure wash.
Off the roof, clean the roof.
definitely.
Yeah, because curb appeal is huge too, right?
That first
That's
drive
your first
up.
impression?
Yeah, we have plenty of buyers that are out on their own looking,
Yes.
driving through neighborhoods,
Yes.
and they're crossing off properties that they just don't have interest in looking at because of what they see from the outside.
Yep.
And if they get a feeling that you're not maintaining the outside because something doesn't look right,
Yep.
they automatically have that assumption on the inside,
That's
and they're
right.
just going to knock that house right off the list.
That's right.
And you don't want that.
No, you don't. You did tell me one thing that just amazed me when I said, what is the biggest deciding factor of the town that someone lives in? And I always thought it was the school system or you know, the government or the utilities, and it's commute.
It is. People are definitely being a lot more strategic in where they live because they want to balance how long it takes to get to work or where their family is in proximity. Yep. They want someone that's close, maybe they have daycare issues. So they're much more aware of that as opposed to some of the other features that people predominantly think of, which are still important. School systems are important, safety is important, but they start with location and they try to backtrack from there.
And it's location, location, location.
Always.
That's the old, right? That's been said for 100 years. That's
Absolutely.
the location of your home.
And it's different for each person.
Yep.
You know, and so some folks don't mind a little extra ride, or they don't mind sitting back in the woods, or they don't mind being on a main road, and others feel the opposite. So it really just depends on each buyer's situation, how they grew up, what they're used to.
And so the value really of having a realtor, whether it's REMAX or anybody else, is to be able to have these conversations, to really find out what's really best for that particular buyer or seller, and work with them.
Absolutely.
Personally.
I think it's important when sellers hire a professional, they understand they're coming in to give them their viewpoint from the outside perspective.
That's right.
We live in our home, we're proud of our home,
Yep.
and sometimes we take offense to when someone points something out, but you really can't.
Right.
It's really, their job is to help you sell for the maximum value in the minimum amount of time, and sometimes you just need to point things out to you that someone else might have concerns over so you can prepare your marketing.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
It's great to be here.
Great info once again.
Thanks for
we'll
having
have
me.
you back.
Absolutely.